Deployment is the ability to automatically generate compiled stuff for different platforms. In this case, if I go into Tools Options, I have a provisioning section. This is where we need to put the default global access codes for our different projects. For Mac, Windows, if we have what is needed for signing, there is a modification 11.3 regarding that. Android, is better to do it project by project. iOS, the same, because it's declared with Apple. That's where if I go to the store, for example, I have the things that are declared with Apple, which are available. Obviously, we are not going to hard code this project for all the stuff, actually. You have to go through the default project. So we don't set anything in the interface in Tools Options for iOS. We do it like Android, project by project. So what interests me is everything related to the App Store. So first, in normal mode, for Mac, we need a development certificate to be able to compile on it and sign the projects, since it's required. But if we want to be at ease, we still need to be able to provide a certificate somewhere. So I find them in my installation. Normally they are installed by Xcode. I will stop my sharing from the iPhone. No more copying. There you go. Normally when you are on Xcode, so when you are on a Mac, you need the developer account, Apple, so on developer.apple.com. You do what needs to be done to get a developer account. I'll leave you to figure it out. It always takes a bit of time to try to find the option in account. You have a registration thing to pay for different levels of access. There you go. We find ourselves in the new version of the system, and in the certificate section, we have the different accounts, the different certificates created to identify us, then learn about other parameters to fill out. You had the video, so there you go, you have a 30-second version to renew your certificates, or the full version. Here, I put the link to the 30-second version if you want to watch. If you already have a developer account, every year you need to renew the certificates after renewing the annual payment. And so there are a number of operations to perform to then have the entire operational chain on our side in Delphi. Otherwise, you have the full version at this link with the video. If you log in, so as I was saying, once we are with Apple, we have our certificates. And in our certificates, we create a development, distribution, Mac, installer, developer, ID, application, and installer. These things, we will bring them back via Xcode, or Xcode will create them for us. And then we have to declare them in Delphi to work so that it knows what it is doing and how it handles them. And so in Xcode here, we normally have in the preferences the developer account declared. In the associated certificates, we can create them through this little link here. One of each, no need for more, and normally it installs them. And then we'll download. The profiles, which are actually links between the certificate, the devices, the applications, and other subtleties, depending on Apple's documentation. So, I roughly have my certificate. In fact, they are installed on the Mac, and so I find them in the keychain access, or keychain, it depends on what they called it, keychain access here. And so there, actually, in the session, my certificates, I have the things that are declared. Those things, I will reuse them in Delphi to configure them. So here, in Delphi macOS, 64 bits, normal, you need to use the development certificate. And so for that, I click on it, I copy the text, and I paste it on my thing, or I retype it, obviously. Or there's just the enter type. If you want a level 37, that's enough for it to find it. In fact, it needs a piece that allows it to distinguish it from the others. So you just have to copy that. And so here I have my certificate for the construction in normal, possibly the signature in normal if it needs to make one. And I copy it into both. So obviously if we have multiple devices, we need to transfer the certificates to all of them by exporting from one of them. And we re-import on the others. So here, normally I have what I need, the E37 on both sides, Apple development, it's good. Nothing else to do for this one, so we'll move on to the store. No, to the developer ID. Bad idea store is the simplest. Store. So I need a third-party Mac developer certificate and a third-party Mac installer certificate. Same, Serge, so thanks for the subscription, a clean cut and surprise. So for the cut, I don't see it. I hope on your side it was just a connection drop or it cut out. And so, thanks for the subscription. So on the provisioning part, so Mac OS App Store, I need a Mac developer certificate. So be careful. It's that one. The third party. So it talks about Mac, third-party, developer. So it's developer, installer thing, third-party, and the third-party installer. It's the one that is distribution. So before they had another name. That's why in Delphi they have another one. But they have been renamed. Well, Apple generates fewer of them now. We had 5 or 6. Well, we had 3 or 4 more. Well, it was a real mess because we separated iOS, Android, well, iOS and macOS and so on. And so there was a bit of everything. So there, third party for developer and Apple distribution for the installer. In store, therefore, to actually submit to the App Store to package your stuff for the App Store. I do the same thing for ARM. So there, the Mac third party here, distribution, and forward developer. For the other there you go. And so the funny thing is the developer said Farid developer. It's the possibility from our install to create projects that will be installable by anyone on Mac without needing to go through Apple's validation process, which is still a technical validation and signature process on their part. But for that, we need to have signed our own stuff locally. So we need the developer account for it. A password that is not the account password, but a password for the application. The team ID, what is that now? That must be new. Developer application ID certificate, that's the one. Developer ID application, this is it. And we check the box. So team ID, I don't remember what it is. So I'm going to set the password. At that point, we will generate a password. So the application password here, we go to Apple. Which is the Apple account management site, like. Obviously, I can't shift it. Password, it's my Mac. It's my Mac identifier thing. And so a part of password for the application. Obviously, as you can imagine, I'm not going to do it live. I'll put it on the other screen. So if you go directly there, in fact, you will be able to create a unique password for a software and be able to deactivate them afterwards, if you want, but all at once or one by one. So I'm going to click on top of that. It asks for the name of the software. So here it's RAD Studio 11.3. Work. I'm going to the VM1. I confirm. It will display a password for me. Oh no. Yes, it really doesn't want to do it. I'm going to completely switch to the screen next to it. There you go. And so the payment of invoices. Password titles cannot contain special characters. They don't want underscores and dashes. So I'm just going to remove the content. 11.3. Work. Create. There you go. And then it actually displays a window with the password, so obviously I'm not showing it to you. I copy it and finish. There you go. And so if I go there, I paste, and it's good. I'm just going to save it. Do it on this one too, so there. Hop, video conditioner thing. Obviously store it somewhere. If you want to use it in multiple places, otherwise you regenerate one each time you need to set up the environment. There, if I come here, ad hoc, no Mac, Mac, developer. Here, so, my user, the password. If I find the right field, there you go. And if I click OK, so I suppose the message Jan put earlier saying that it found it by itself is maybe why I didn't need it on the normal one actually. It managed to compile on its own, maybe earlier. It might have changed, but I'm not used to it anymore. So my problem is that on the developer ID certificate, I have a little subtlety on mine. I have to add something here that I obviously don't know by heart. So I'm just going to check something on the side. I actually have several accounts with Apple that I can manage. Obviously we log out properly. I have several Apple accounts for distributing different types of things like applications and books. And as a result, I have multiple accesses to the same accounts and it's a mess on their end. So there is information to add and I just need to find the right one. So on this part, another option, I need to find the screenshots I had from the last time I made the change. Or else we will go to the other VM, which I might need to launch. I don't know if I can launch the other one. Windows VM. Let's laugh. Where is it? There. Mac Mini M1, powerful enough or not powerful enough? RAD Studio 11.2, it's this one. Suspense. Is the Mac Mini M1 powerful enough by default to open both Windows VMs at the same time? Especially since I'm keeping the stream. In theory. So I'm launching version 11.2. Now obviously if you use the migration tool, it should be done automatically. If you're on the same machine, the same PC, with the same environments. That's part of the settings that are preserved. But since I recreate virtual machines each time, I never use the migration tool between the two versions. I don't know if it started. No, I hadn't clicked. From time to time I experience latency with the click and it doesn't register if I move the mouse in the meantime. I think that's related to the Mac's processor or Mac OS. There are some little quirks. Hello, Hervé. So, error in obtaining data for default if you want. I don't know what this error is, but it doesn't matter. Hello everyone. The Mac Mini is still, well, the M1 is still an amazing processor. I come from the basic Intel, so obviously, well, Intel i5 from the 2011 iMac, but clearly this thing, it's impressive. It's impressive. So in the deployment and provisioning options on the part that interested me, developer ID, yes, there is actually an additional parameter. Okay, so we're going to add that, which is the thing I need for my account because I have several different accesses. Otherwise it won't work. Alright? I suppose the team ID is related to the... It's related to the enterprise account. There must be something like that. So, macOS 64-bit, so developer ID here, and developer ID there. My thing doesn't work if I don't have it. And obviously, it tries to compile according to the parameters of the iBook store. Needless to say, the applications, it doesn't really want them on there. That's not it. Retrieve directly on the Mac because the copy doesn't want to happen. Rousseau. Copy. Paste it. There you go. So that's good for that. And there was one last thing. The signature for Windows. So the store is normally good, it's fine. The 10, it's fine. So normally in Windows and nothing to do otherwise normal. Windows, 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 here. App Store, so we have the ad hoc for direct sending. And so here we need our own information. So in this case I have my basic info. Namely the signing certificate I have here, which comes from K Software. A password to put on it, which I obviously don't know by heart, and now new in version 11.3, the timestamp server. And so here obviously I will go copy the parameters I have here into my exe. Bulk signing tool here, so the password, I don't have it. However, I have my certificate, my server for timestamp, which is provided by the company that supplies the certificate. There you go, and so the password here, obviously I don't have it, so I will go fetch it on my Mac. So, I have my certificate signing file, the certificate password and the signing thing. So, dealing with the 32 and 64 bits in the ad hoc app store. So, there, it manages to read it, that's good, it's indeed the right information. I can exit the Windows session of the other one. Normally everything should work. I just tested the Windows signature to be sure. So I only have that and the iMac. It's good. I can save the settings. We'll just try a Windows compilation with signature. And a Mac compilation with signature. Also, that way we will have tested everything. So I'm going back to my demo project. This one, the Hello World, which was supposed to be Hello World FMX. It is indeed FMX. There's no title bar. I'm just going to the section Mac. Here. We'll do it on the ARM in developer ID. Project build. Okay, and deploy. Normally it should start the notarization, which takes a few minutes or seconds, and ask provider, one of our options. Is it possible that it's no longer needed? I'm on the ARM64 ask provider thing. If I put a space in front, it's ridiculous. Look. No, I said ID. I said ARM. So obviously this can be set at the level of each project. But since these are global settings, maybe Apple has finally removed this annoying parameter. Or I'm stuck because there might be something else to add. Let's see. It would be nice if I no longer needed to specify it systematically. That would be so great. Here. So I said macOS ARM. If I remove you from there, what does it do to us? Ouch, ouch, ouch. Must provide all app-specific password authentication, arguments, Apple ID password and team ID. What is this team? So it's not a thing for Teams. What is this story exactly? So count developer, team, Apple developer. There you go. At the Apple team email, ouch. Membership center and membership. All right, we see. Let's go. Yes, okay. As if they didn't already have it on their account. Okay. So, tool, option, let's go back. Team ID. This is new, it just came out. So let's try without the optional parameter. Project. Notarize. Apparently it went through, so I don't need the thing anymore. I will try to make everything as difficult as possible. Yes. Of course, of course. And they justify the payment. At the very least. So my thing, moreover, is useless. My iBookstore account must have been deleted. I have already registered for the presentation webinar on the 11.3. 40 minutes. 50 minutes before the official presentation. Yes, that's all there is. So that's good for this one. Do I have the file here? I can log out. Sign out. Sign out. Sign out. Sign out. Sign out. Here. So, not the server here, that's good. I'm on this one, and so my project here, it did create a zip file. So if I take my zip file and transfer it to the iMac, then obviously the one from the ARM, it won't work, but we can try. Mac here. So here we have a pepperm folder, then a decompressed zip server here. And there obviously it's a version that doesn't work, and ARM on the x86 normal, and then not the same version of macOS. So they're 11 minimum, Big Sur. And on the Mac, obviously I don't have the right one, so that's normal. And in any case, it doesn't reject the system, it's well signed, it seems to be going through. And so there, in the file itself, I must have a signature somewhere. There you go. So it has been validated. On it, so the signature goes through. I can work Windows up, ad hoc store, project, build project, deploy. So obviously first compiled compilation. It asks what it is, what cages to use. In this case, it's the one that was detected, which was installed by itself. And if I deploy normally, logical. Oh, well, that's great. It displays the password. In plain text, that's great. So, timestamp skeptical machine user. An internet expertise. The mistake that Urov, a small incident ticket to start. Series 11.3.